My brothers and sisters, good morning. This is the fourth Sunday of Easter time, and the Gospel today is from the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verses 1 through 10. If you want to put me on pause to go look at the reading and then come back, I'll be here when you return. There's one thing we know for certain, and that is that the parable of Jesus about this gate and shepherd and sheep is not about gates and shepherds and sheep. It's about leadership. And when the leaders don't seem to get it, he says it again, and he says, "Look, I'm the gate. Enter through me." So I'd like to tell you a little story. My father loved sports, and every Sunday afternoon he would go to the local stadium with me in tow to watch 2 games. Unfortunately, the lunch was always a little late. When we got home from Mass, my mother would go into the kitchen and to prepare the meal, and my father and I would be pacing up and down, waiting for the dinner. And then it would be served, and we would gulp ours down, and leaving the rest of the family to eat theirs more leisurely, we would rush to the stadium. And when we got to the stadium, the first game was already in progress, maybe even halftime. We would watch the 2 games and then return home for the evening meal. Now, 25 years after this, and about a year after my father died, my mother mentioned that she was sorry that she didn't have the meal ready on time on Sundays. It was then I realized that she purposely didn't have the meal ready on time. She felt that it wasn't fair for my dad to go off on Sunday afternoons to watch some games and leave her at home in the house with the children. If I had realized it, I wouldn't have gone with my dad. I would have stayed at home. And if my dad had realized it, maybe he wouldn't have gone either. He would have stayed at home with the family. Or maybe suggested that he and Mom and the children would go to the local park and have a picnic and just have family fun. But he wasn't aware. Now I'd like to tell you or ask you a question. What can our quarantine teach us? I see us all anxious to get out of the house, but we're asked to stay home. People say they want to go to Mass. They want communion. And then we read the Gospel. Jesus says, "Come through me." Now, looking with the eyes of Christ at our world, I see that most of the deaths from this coronavirus are from the black or brown communities. 80% of the deaths are African American, and more than half of the remainder are from the Hispanic community. So when we say that we want to return to normal, is it just a coincidence that 80% of the deaths were black and a lot were brown? When we say we want to return to normal, we want to come back to a society where black and brown suffer or are more susceptible to illness or disease because of poverty? Or do we want to come back to a society where there are thousands of children in cages at the border, separated from their families? What does returning to normal mean? When we look to the leadership of our country or the leadership of our church, are they leading us to the gate of Christ? It would be nice to return to the game of life after this coronavirus time. But is there a message to be learned from the crisis that needs some reflection and maybe action on the part of a Christian community? God bless you.